Welcome to North of the Broad, everyone. I'm Robin Zimmerman, and we are at the Pat Conroy Literary Center in downtown Beaufort as we kind of bring 2024 to a close. We have an author, and her name is Doris Wright. And the book that she has written, her first novel, she's written short stories and poetry, but this is her first novel. Welcome, Doris. It's called Cabbagehead. And I was actually very interested in reading your notes about the main character who was having kind of a troubled life, and then I'll let you continue.
Okay, yes, he's a real introvert. He's married, has 3 pretty grown children, and but his wife is the boss, and but he doesn't seem to mind. He goes along with that, and then he's like in his early 50s. He meets one day when she's away on a business trip. He goes out into the garden.
Because he loves gardening.
Pardon?
He loves gardening.
I should say. That's his life. That's the only thing he cares about. And so a plant speaks to him that looks like
a cabbage.
This.
Right.
More like one of those that a lot of people put as a long
ornament.
Yes,
yeah,
ornamental, but large. And then, first he's in denial, and he thinks he should go get a plant specialist to, bring a stethoscope and see whether his, what's wrong. Or first he has a thought of going to a priest and having an exorcism. I mean, he's just terrified that he's going crazy.
Right.
But then his last alternative is to talk to the plant, and they do, and they become.
They have
friends.
A relationship. They develop a relationship, and it really turns his life around.
It does.
The main character is Bradley Peterson.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So why this topic? Why this subject for this book? What vision did you have? What drew you to it?
I did sort of have a vision. I had a dream where it was just very brief. I don't know the rest of the dream, but all I remember was there was a head, a human head, stuck in the ground talking to me. And so that was enough. And it was so strange, but I don't know why I chose that, but I went with that. And then, worked on it for a long time and finally decided it was just time to cut the cord, get it published. So
it was published in October of 2024.
Yes.
Where can we find this book, my
This
dear?
is published by bookbaby.com, and they do have a bookstore you can buy it through. And then there's also, it's on Amazon or any of those main ebook kind of things.
Who would be interested in, and what kind of audience? Who's your target audience for this?
People that are interested in plants, horticulture, people that are interested in the ecology.
Yes.
But also it's a humorous book. And so although they're serious subjects, I was reading it piece by piece to the book group the writers group that I'm in, and they laughed a lot. So that's really rewarding. I like to make people laugh, but anyway.
And so, how long did it take you to write it?
Pardon?
How long did it take you to write it, Doris?
Probably at least 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, I put it aside for a long time, then went back, then I saw some problems that I had to work out with it, and finally felt that I had worked on it long enough, and that was it.
And so, is this your first and last novel, or are you going to look at doing something else?
In between, I was working on, I haven't finished it, a novel based on a trip. My husband is a historian of Africa, and this is based on a trip we took to a conference in Africa, in Guinea, and everything that went wrong could go wrong, and so it's humorous like that. It's about the main character who, her boyfriend who invited her to go on it, dumps her just before the trip. So it's called Broken Down. I mean, the bus breaks down. She's pretty broken down, and then it's all jabs at academics, the typical mean things people say about academics.
Okay, but. So you're kind of in the process?
Yes, I feel like I'm about 3/4 done with that.
Okay,
and
very good.
Somebody asked me, is there a sequel to Cabbagehead? And I don't know. It hasn't inspired me, but I started thinking, well, maybe. But
Yeah.
by the way, my son drew that for me.
Very good. So again, it's Cabbagehead
Yeah.
by Doris Wright. Thank you so much for being on North of the Broad. Nice to meet you. And
Thank
good
you.
luck
Nice
with
to
your,
meet you
with
too.
your book.
Yes.
And we'll be right back with more of our program. Don't go away.